I feel so much better driving my FRS now after having that Model 3 for a week. Hey there folks, this is Jesse with Find My Wings. Now you might be wondering why I am in the FRS when you've just seen the title here of Tesla Model 3. Well, lucky for me, I had a memory card issue. After shooting my initial full kind of length review of the Model 3 that we had in British Columbia for a week, put about 3,000 kilometers on it, did a full review, and the footage got corrupted, deleted, thanks to somewhere between being on a plane, my SanDisk memory card, or my GoPro. But what that's allowed me to do is to think a little bit more. And I'm ultimately really glad that we did. So let's talk about my 1 week with a Tesla Model 3 dual motor long range. And I'll close these windows. So, first of all, when you get in a Tesla Model 3, what should you expect? It is an impressively innovative electric car, and we had the chance to have a dual motor long range. So it had about 550 kilometers of range, and it's quick. It's 0 to 60 in about 4.5 seconds. Now this car from factory is like 7.5. So that means to 60 miles an hour, that car is 2 seconds faster. And it's weird. You expect that to be like noticeable, right? It's very noticeable. This car feels like you work up to it. When you do a hard launch with these good tires and all the mods we have on it, it doesn't feel overly fast still, in full honesty. It feels fun. It feels engaging, but not overly fast. The Tesla is one of those times where it is so instant to have electric power, it's almost addictive. Now some of the big pieces about the Tesla, I will actually put, some of the video was saved and I'll put it at the end here where I'm actually sitting in the Tesla and kind of summarizing my thoughts on it a bit. But the big piece is the technology, like that's the summary of everything. So our car did have the autopilot, it did not have full self-driving, I believe due to a rollback of the full self-driving software in certain parts of Canada. Now that's part of what intrigued us to have a Model 3 as a rental car, is that it had that full self-driving capability, in our case autopilot limited. Now it was amazing, and I'll say, when you get on a highway and you can just tap a button and the car just drives itself. Oh look, my car is autopilot right now, that's crazy. Get our hands back on the wheel. It's pretty nice. You get on a highway, you get on a clearly marked road in the daytime, and it feels amazing. Now, some of what I was showing in the video showed a little bit more about autopilot behind the scenes. Now, you've probably seen a lot of videos about how good autopilot is or how bad autopilot is. I had a mixture of both. Quick story, the very first night we had it, we were in a rush. We were never been to British Columbia before. And so we had to get in the car, quickly get to a ferry, and get to Vancouver Island to go stay with my buddy because the last ferry was leaving pretty close to when we'd get there. So we had a very rushed introduction to a Tesla Model 3. Now, I, for a while, was just struggling with certain things. So everything's on a tablet here. This is barely a tablet. It is a touchscreen, but it is not much more than that. It's a Bluetooth radio. And as far as audio, the Tesla's actually just a Bluetooth radio as well. You have to pay for premium subscriptions and things to link Spotify, which is pretty annoying. But we immediately had issues. There was things like, oh, I want to open the glove box. Oh, that's in the tablet, but I'm driving, so my partner has to figure it out. Oh, the windows are fogging up because it was raining like crazy. Oh, I don't know how to do that. I actually figured it out. We Googled what the voice command was, just tap both buttons on the steering wheel, and now defog is on. That feels pretty crazy, actually. Ultimately, I'm a techie. I'm actually a product manager at a tech company. And I didn't love the tech in the car. It felt like the limiting factor of the car. Now, going around corners and things like that, It's actually impressive. Like, the engineering behind the car, given how much it weighs, it felt pretty good. But the tech, it really took away from it. It made it feel like you had to work to adapt yourself to use the technology, and that is something I don't believe in. Now, it's funny because Tesla has a motto that if it needs a user guide, it's not built correctly. Now, I didn't just need a user guide to use that car. There are certain things that it took us stopping, pulling over, and Googling to figure out. That's not great. Now, of course, I'm a novice. I'm not a professional car reviewer or anything like that. That's all just my experience with it. Now, the parts I didn't really talk about, other than, you know, the glass roof and all these electronics, and it's so quiet inside, I fell in love with electric cars. Did I fall in love with the Model 3? I don't know. I am somebody that actually had a unique opportunity. My parents wanted to teach me about investing when I was really young. We didn't really have much money at the time, but they helped me buy stocks, and they said, who do you want to buy? And I said Tesla. And at the time, it made sense. Tesla was innovative. They're trying to change the world. And their ultimate goal was to make an affordable electric car at scale that wasn't garbage. And now the Model 3 is the epitome of that. So the Model 3 was very special to my heart, and I feel very blessed to have had an entire week and almost 3,000 kilometers in a Model 3, and not even a base Model 3, and happens to be in the most beautiful part of the country altogether. So back to my original point here, because I'm probably rambling. I fell in love with electric cars on this trip. I did not fall in love with the Model 3. The Model 3 feels like an Apple ecosystem in the same way as it doesn't really care what you want or what you think. It's what they're gonna give you, and you have to figure that out. There's a Model Y, same color as what we had. Picture that, but a Model 3, that's what we were driving. I don't like it. I'm a big fan. I still have an Android phone. This is a OnePlus 7 Pro. I have Windows computers. I do have a MacBook Pro for work. I do appreciate Apple and their ecosystem overly, but it's not open. Open ecosystems matter. And that brings me to a big point. I personally planned to order a Hyundai Ioniq 5 whenever they launched an N-Line edition. And now the reason for that is that Hyundai has a very interesting philosophy behind electric cars, and it ties it much more to the reality of what a normal driver wants. Plus, the Ioniq 5 is just simply gorgeous, and it's an ergonomic daydream as far as being able to sit in it and live with it. It's a great car. But why I say planned is while we were traveling, we did about 3,000 kilometers. It gets 500 kilometers of range, but we were going up literally into the Rocky Mountains and other mountain ranges around BC, depending on where we were in the day. That range did get impacted, so we charged a good amount. Now, the cool part about charging the Model 3 was for $150, we drove 3,000 kilometers-ish. I think it was about 2890 or something like that. That's amazing. But when you look around, when you see an Ioniq 5 on the road, there's one sinking suspicion that I had is, can I even charge this car at all the chargers that I've relied on during my trip to stop and get a good charge back in my car? And now, after some research online, I've found out you can't. A Model 3, a Model Y, a Model S, and a Model X can all charge at any Tesla charger. If you had a supercharging pass, you didn't have to pay for it. That's pretty cool. If you have an Ioniq 5, you cannot use a Tesla charger in North America. In some places in Northern Europe, they have actually adopted the support for more electric cars and Tesla superchargers. But ultimately, this amazing infrastructure that allowed us to always find chargers, generally fast chargers, wherever we were going in the Model 3, is unfortunately taken away from some of their competitors. Now, the idea that there can be a Tesla killer is really impacted if you can't let them charge in the same infrastructure. So, probably not the review you thought you were gonna hear. Ultimately, I think the tech behind a Tesla kind of sucks, and the ecosystem is limiting and not open. That hurts. As cool as the car is, those pieces really take away from the idea of owning a Tesla, or Model 3, not even specifically, any Tesla. The Model 3 makes a lot of sense to me, the Model Y maybe even a little bit more if it's gonna be a primary car, but that's a whole different story. So I am gonna finish this off by summarizing the review in the Model 3 as we were actually sitting there, but I'm really glad my footage was deleted because I didn't talk about any of this. I wasn't really even thinking about it. I was still a little bit awestruck just by the fact that it was a Tesla, and I've always been in love with Teslas and I've never got to spend a significant amount of time with one. Now the final little piece here, which I thought was funny and makes it more valuable to be in the car right now, is that I feel so much better driving my FRS now after having that Model 3 for a week. I find it just so much nicer to put around a corner. Like right now it feels light, like I can just move the wheel a little bit and it's so responsive. It's loud, it's engaging, and the weirdest part is I find myself shifting so much cleaner after driving the Model 3 because I'm now engaged with the car. That's something Ford is looking at with the Mach 3, is can they make the car more engaging with audio, and I really hope they do because it has a purpose. So let's go into the summary from my actual time with the Model 3. Thank you for hearing my rant or whatever made the edit here. Okay, so let's just summarize it and put this video together for you. So again, I love driving this car. It's a pinnacle. This car is really important to me, so I appreciate having time with it, specifically a week in one of the most beautiful parts of North America. It's been truly an amazing experience to have it. The Model 3 to me is important for one specific reason. Tesla was born and built to change the way the world commutes and to make it more sustainable. And so their goal was to show that it can be done. And so first the Roadster showed that you can make an electric car that's not garbage, even though there was a lot of issues with them. The Model S showed that they could make a competitive car all themselves that's not using Lotus parts. And then their goal was very specifically to make a cheap, affordable electric car at scale to change the industry to adopt electric vehicles. And that car is the Model 3. Now, for me, you might think, with the performance car background and things like that, I would want a Model 3 Performance myself. I think this is the exact perfect spec of Model 3 if you're going to buy one. You have dual motors, it's quick, it's got amazing range, it's actually got the highest range you can get on a Model 3, and that to me is absolutely perfect. It's just an efficient car. If you're gonna get this car to take to the track, then yeah, I get a performance edition, but I'm always gonna have another track car, like my FRS or one of my old cars. Now, the piece where this car really falls down is technology. So having everything on this tablet interface, eventually you can force yourself to get used to it, but it's not great. I find myself stumbling to find certain functionalities. It just feels weird and out of place a lot of times to have to go in here to open the glove box. Like things like that, I just don't understand. And I know it means you can put more space in the glove box by not having a physical handle and things like that. I do understand, but it just feels wrong. I appreciate a car that has more buttons and knobs, especially for like climate controls and things. So ourselves, we've looked at something like a Hyundai Ioniq 5. Hopefully if they bring out an N-line version of that car, that's a little bit closer to what I like and what I would personally put money into. Overall, the big missing piece here is charging. So Tesla charging matters. It is a big piece of your buying decision to understand that superchargers have value. They're all over the place, they're strategically placed, they're built into the maps on these cars. It's something you really do want to consider. If you're going to look at it, if you're going to look at a competing electric car, you should see whether you can use a Tesla charger or not for those cars. And if not, you should be very aware of the types of chargers that are available, how you get to those chargers, how you find them, how you pay for them, things like this. The charging experience with the Model 3 has been nothing short of awesome. It's been quick, it's been fun, they're in great, logistically sound places. I really do love the charging infrastructure that Tesla provides. So all in all, these things are amazing. They're an important car that I'm really glad exists. And to me, it matters in the grand scheme of the auto industry. The Model 3 is a big signaling change that you can make a good electric vehicle that is not ridiculously priced or spec'd. So that's my take I'm an 8.6 guy. I have old cars. I have my Scion FRS. I'm going to be reviewing more and more vehicles over time here in POV. So please leave comments below if you have any suggestions, if there's anything that's off point, if there's anything I'm missing here. Overall, I don't find myself really wanting to buy a Model 3. I appreciate my time with it. I feel like there's going to be better electric cars, and there might already be some out there, but they're only the product that this car did exist to facilitate the investment of other companies to keep up, match, or be inspired by this car. So thank you very much. This is Jesse with Founding Wings. Hope everybody's happy and healthy out there. Hope you've enjoyed the beautiful views of the core of British Columbia here. We're near Merritt, British Columbia right now. And we're gonna get this thing charged. We're gonna continue our awesome vacation here, and let me know. Subscribe, like, if you support it. It helps us have validation that we can create more videos and what types of videos to create. So thank you very much, and have a good one.